Hello and welcome to another episode of TrekHammer, the show where we're talking about every episode of Star Trek. And today we're talking about Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 2, Episode 8, Under the Cloak of War. This is probably the darkest that Star Trek's got for quite a while. It's getting to Deep Space Nine levels of dark horrors of war type of storytelling. And actually, it may be the best episode so far. I really thought this one was a good one. Not because I enjoyed it so much as it really made me think and feel, which is what I want from Star Trek, to be honest with you. It's a morality tale in many, many ways. And the way it was portrayed, the attempts by the crew to try and hold on to what made them join Starfleet. They're going out and meeting new civilizations and everyone coming together in friendship, not necessarily condoning everything that someone's done or every part of a culture, but understanding it and seeing if they can work together and find common ground, that kind of thing. Meshing. Joined but not necessarily all one thing with one mind, that kind of thing. And I liked that. And actually it got kind of shown in how the different races of the Federation were interacting with one another during the war in the flashback sequences. That way that the Federation works together was shown quite well. But at the same time, you can't escape your past, and that was a central thing about it. The ones that were fought on the side of the Federation during the war, they can't escape the horrors of what they saw and what they did and what was done to them. Equally, the guy who's coming from the other side, the Klingon, he can't avoid what he did as well. He's seen to them as, he might be on our side now, but he's still the enemy. He was the one that we fought. We may not like it. Why does he have to come here and us have to actually confront this dichotomy? He's one of us now, but he wasn't then. Can we come together with that? It was also good to see that there are some Klingons that the Federation is willing to work with. Remember during Kirk's era, you saw a Klingon. He was probably on the other side. This is only a few years before that. Remember, the time when Kirk is on the Enterprise is only 6 years away, 7 years away. It's not far from this point of view. So seeing them actually able to work with a Klingon is a great thing. It's like, this is what the Federation wants. It wants peace and it's willing to work with people that it's fought with. But that twist at the end, where it turns out the Klingon, who's known for all of these things he's done, I'm not going to spoil it too much, but he's known for doing certain things. Turns out he didn't. One of Starfleet did. And that's been brushed aside as well. And it's clear to me that Captain Pike knows what happened at the end. And then we have this other confrontation where the central premise of can we look past what someone did in their past and embrace them as a friend now for the greater good of the Starfleet and the Federation and all of our ideals? Can we do that? Well, that came right home, where Pike is talking to someone that he's known as a friend for many years, who was actually the one who did the bad things that this Klingon has been taking credit for. That was... I'm really eager now to see how that plays out, because as far as I'm aware, we've only got 2 more episodes in this series, and then that's it. That's it, and it moves on. So, that's going to be very interesting. On the other side, I thought Nurse Chapel came across very interestingly as well, because having to confront something that... M'Benga has this thing where if there's a problem, he hides people in the transporter buffer. It's become his thing. He did, though. His kid needed special treatment, and he used the transporter as stasis, essentially, so that she didn't get hurt until he could get that treatment. He's doing the same thing with injured Starfleet personnel on this planet under siege. It's his... Shove him in the transporter buffer, we'll deal with it later. That's his thing. And... yeah, it's a bit annoying that was Scotty's magic thing that he was treated essentially as a genius for coming up with in Relics, which I don't know if they're going to address it or not, because the Enterprise crew seemed to be amazed, but I think it was more that they were amazed that the pattern had lasted that long, rather than that he did it. That's how I want to take it. So that the miracle thing of the use of it doesn't get degraded by the fact that someone else is doing it years in the past before Scotty thought of it. So I'm going to look at it that way, rather than get annoyed that they've essentially taken one of Scotty's supposed real technical marvels and done it with someone else. Someone who's not an engineer, he's a doctor. So anyway, let's get back to what we're talking about. Nurse Chapel is taught how to do this, and she puts someone into the transporter buffer, and then the idea is that, well, when our reinforcements get here, we'll be able to pull him out and treat him. But then they can't, and it comes down to, we must do this, we must make this decision. This one person over all of these people. It's the trolley problem. And she's like, oh, how can we do this? And it's the horrors of war when M'Benga just clears the buffer. That guy, he's already dead. These ones might not be dead. And that's how he's trying to justify it. But she's now got to live with that. And then she works with the guy who essentially made that cold but decisive move every single day. It's very interesting. So it's developed both characters in a way that I did not expect. They've got this deep veterans bond because of their experiences, and that makes them deeper and rounder characters, which is great. I still have the same problem every single time when we see Nurse Chapel. We're not getting any closer to the character we saw in the original series. It just doesn't feel like Nurse Chapel. And also, we have the other issue. Pike is not in this show nearly enough to what he should be. Captain Pike is... he feels like he's the Picard of the original series era. But we're not seeing that because he doesn't get enough time. I know that Star Trek is an ensemble series. I love that Star Trek is an ensemble series. We should have highlights of other characters. But my issue is that because these episodes are only a certain length and there's only 10 of them per season, I don't think Pike is getting enough airtime the way that Picard used to. So we're seeing all this stuff about the crew, which is great. Again, we got some from Hernandez. She's got a problem with Klingons, and we find out why. That's great. That's great. People can have problems. And this is one thing I love about Star Trek as well. They're always portrayed as they're the best of the best. They're the idealists of the idealists. But that's not real. What we should have instead is, yes, they're idealists. Yes, they're pushing to enhance humanity and make things great. But they're still flawed humans at the end of it. And we're seeing those flaws. She has a problem with Klingons. It sometimes overrides her common sense where she actually says it in front of Klingons. Or at least within earshot when she shouldn't. That, to me, was realistic. And I liked that. I appreciated that. But again, we should have had some more from Pike. All he does in that situation is let number one say, stand down to Hernandez, and then gives her a look and walks off. Where's the captain in this? He's just wandering around letting people do stuff. He doesn't seem to be part of the show in the same way that he was part of Discovery. He was the greatest part of that season of Discovery. Where is that Pike? I need more of that Pike. But on the whole, this is probably the best episode. Despite its flaws, the heights that it goes to in the visceralness of the horrors of war push it so high that even those few flaws can't really take it down. So in the end, I'm going to go back and rewatch this again now and probably enjoy it just as much. But before I do that, warp factor 10, Mr. Sulu. Yeah, it's another 10 out of 10. Wonderful episode. Will it hold up? At some point in TrekHammer, we'll probably do a re-look at these in the same way that I'm going through all of the previous shows at the moment, starting right from the start with the original series in like the Man Trap, Charlie X and all of that. At some point, we'll go through Strange New Worlds again and we'll see if it holds up, but I think it will, because my goodness, this was a visceral episode. Fantastic writing, fantastic acting, loved every part of it. That's all we've got time for you today. Like I say, 10 out of 10. Take care, have a great day, and remember, live long and prosper. Take care and bye-bye. If you like the show, please consider supporting me on Patreon. It really does help create future videos. That's patreon.com/Zoe Kirk Robinson. And I've got an extra special thanks going out to Chief89, Sam Yates, Retro Mickey82, Mo Henry, and George Botterini. Thank you so much, guys.